Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to Drawing Down the Dragon. I'm Snappy, and thank you for joining me for our show today, where we're going to be diving deep into this new work by my dear friend Graham Cwinn, Clozapine. So I'm joined by Graham. How's it going, Graham?
Oh, alive, and that's good.
Well, yeah, life is, we're here, we're surviving, we're thriving, and we're gonna dive deep into a new reality, your Clozapine journals. So this is a really deeply personal book for you. I mean, all of your poetry is personal, but this one especially so. Unlike, normally you do non-rhyming, really intense poems that are, abstract and full of imagery, but now this is kind of a departure from your normal work and into something a bit different. So talk to us about this particular work. What was the inspiration? How did you go about writing it, and what we're going to expect to see in this new piece?
Sure. So, it's called A New Reality, My Intimate Relationship with Clozapine. And clozapine is a medication I started taking back in January. And my stepmom actually suggested I keep a journal sort of during to chart my experience over the past year. Um, because it's a pretty intense medication, a lot of side effects, but
Right.
also a lot of good.
Of course, right. So to set this up for people who don't know you, Graham, you're a poet and artist, and we've done many a different interview with you now on the channel.
Yeah.
You're my co-host with Searching for Dragons. But one of the big things, you've been struggling your whole life with mental illness, specifically with schizoaffective disorder, and this is the latest in a lifelong battle with trying to discover an effective medication, right? So to set this
Yeah.
up, right, this is something that your doctors were very hesitant to give you because of some of the intense side effects. So talk to us a bit about clozapine and what led you to having to get to clozapine in the first place.
Right. So it was the first what they call atypical antipsychotic, and it was which basically just means second generation. And it was synthesized in 1958, and they did various trials in Europe, which seemed successful. But then in one trial in Finland, I think in 1975, I believe, there were 8 related deaths to the medication.
Oh,
And so they
wow.
stopped research in the US until the 90s, I think, or the early 2000s. It was approved for schizoaffective depression and as well as schizophrenia. And so it's an antipsychotic that has the additional property of being good for suicidal ideation and like suicidal attempts, which is something I deal with a lot. And before my psych wanted me to try this, I had electroconvulsive therapy last year,
Hmm.
and it didn't work. And so this is the next step in treatment for me.
Right, right. And at this point, you're kind of in this to paint the picture. I was talking to you earlier in the year, and you were even considering taking, radical new forms of treatment that are untested, right? You had been considering what was the drug you were thinking of taking at a
So
private
yeah,
clinic?
ketamine.
Ketamine.
It's
Thank
pretty
you.
it's yeah, it's only private clinics here that prescribe it, and they won't do it if you have schizoaffective or like psychotic disorders because it's like a dissociative anesthetic, right? And it can exacerbate symptoms is what their fear is.
Mm,
And then there's also transcranial magnetic stimulation, and my psych was like, it's like $12,000 for the treatment. He's like, it's never been studied with like this
wow.
schizoaffective before, so he's like, I don't want to push you into something that costs thousands of dollars and have like nothing to show for it.
Right.
So
So
this
then
was
this
sort
was
of
the
the next.
logical step, right?
You took the word out of my mouth. Yeah, exactly. Next
Oof.
logical step. It's my 20th medication that I've tried since 2003,
Wow. And this is
around
such a
there.
severe medication. You were telling me, right? Like they can't
Yeah,
just
I
give
mean,
this to you. Talk to
it
us
does a
about the
lot of
machine. Like, because
Yeah,
you have to go to the hospital, you have to get blood work, they have to monitor you because this could lead you completely off the rails, right? Like, what's
could
going
kill
on
me.
here?
It could
Yeah.
kill me. So it's heavily monitored. I get blood work once a week for 6 months, and then twice a month for 6 months. That's where I am right now. I'm in that sort of area there. And he caused the main concern is agranulocytosis, which is a severe drop in white blood cell count.
Oh, wow.
To the point of being fatal if you get like a cold or something, like you might just die.
Right.
Myocarditis, which is heart inflammation, fatal bowel syndrome, hypersalivation, hyperglycemia, which is like increased glucose levels in your blood. So those are the main one side effects. But for people who can tolerate it, it can make a difference. I'm not noticing that much of a difference, but um,
Yeah. Explain to us where you're currently at in this clozapine journey.
yeah. So I'm on five. Just started 600 milligrams, and that's sort of the recommended maximum dose. It can go up to 900, but anything over 600, there's like a seizure risk.
Wow.
So we're hovering here for now, and we'll see if it makes a difference. I am noticing a bit of a difference, but just not as much
That's
as I
good.
would like.
Right. 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 Right.
And I'm also on like an antipsychotic injection that I get every month, aripiprazole, and that helps make my mania more stable for the most part.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah,
So let's take a look here at
sure.
the
The
cover.
front cover.
Uh,
So
so
I drew
talk to
this
us.
in 2022, I think is when they drew this. Is that what it says? Something like that. 22nd, I
Mhm.
think, or 2022. And it was a doodle that I made that like I wouldn't consider it my best work at all, but I felt like it captured the alienation and the isolation.
Right.
So you have the distorted dogs, the two heads, a guy with all the heads growing out of the heads. Hard to see at the top, but people are climbing out of an egg and transforming into birds.
Oh, wow. Is that like a
Um,
tree or a lamppost?
so
The black
so
thing?
oh, that's a lamppost, and then
Mm,
the buildings all lamppost and buildings are all twisted around. I get a lot of visual distortions.
right. Wow. That just makes me think of hallucinogenics.
Yeah, yeah.
Wild
There's
stuff.
definitely a similar manifestation there.
And then the two-headed dog, people are pointing out.
In hindsight, I should have done it 3 and made it Cerberus, but here we are.
Hail Hecate, hail Cerberus, right? Wild.
Uh,
And then
yeah, and
talk
this
to
is
us about the last image. Yeah.
so this is the first page in the journal, and it's a drawing I did a few years ago representing the interconnection between mental health and physical health. So it's like you're holding your thoughts literally.
I
Um,
see.
yeah, and sort of like
As
the
you scream.
overbearing weight of the body as well as the mind, because they're one and the same.
Right. That's wild energy.
Yeah, I've always liked this drawing, so it's nice to finally have a home for it.
It's well used. So
So
talk to us about your condition here.
yeah, this is a really important and awesome infographic that I found uh, a couple of years ago, and I repost it every once in a while. So there's three classes of side of symptoms with schizoaffective: psychosis, mania, and depression. Psychosis would be like delusions, hallucinations, disorganized thinking or disorganized behavior. What they call negative symptoms, which is like lack of pleasure in things, poor hygiene, and social withdrawal, stuff like that. And then mania, there's like excessive self-esteem or grandiosity sometimes, less need for sleep, talking more than usual, uh, easily distracted like I am right now, and like increased in goal oriented activities and stuff, and
Right. Interesting.
um, uncontrollable bursts of energy, basically. And then there's
Right.
what you'd expect, classic depressive symptoms as well. And so
Yeah, mania is
schizoaffective
wild for that because people have these incredible bursts of energy, sometimes creativity, sometimes just outright
sometimes.
insanity. You know,
Yeah, I
you
was
know, it affects everyone
I,
so wildly.
in the around 2015 or 2014. I went 11 days without sleep,
Oh my gosh.
and my doctor was like, "You're actually going to die if you don't sleep." And they had to prescribe all these sleeping medications and stuff. And now with my injection, the mania doesn't really come around as much, but it's still there. And so schizoaffective. There's a two part for diagnosis. There's X amount of time with just psychotic symptoms versus X amount of time with psychotic plus mood symptoms.
Wow.
And that's how you get diagnosed to differentiate it from psychotic bipolar, for example, where the psychosis is isolated to the mood episode, whereas in schizoaffective it persists outside of mood episodes.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, and so it's a lot to deal with. Um, Sorry, kind of distracted.
I can't imagine. I'm sure it's like it overwhelms it defines your whole life.
Yeah,
Defines your whole life,
yeah,
right?
exactly. I've been hearing like voices lately, so it's like kind of interrupting my train of thought a little bit. So sorry if I'm chunky.
It's all good. We understand. All the love to you, Graham. Thank you for taking the time with us. We always appreciate
Yeah,
being able to do this with you. So
totally. So let's
you open up
start.
with this. Yeah,
Of course, I started the book with an Artaud quote,
amazing.
as usual, and this is where I got the name from for the book. At the point where the world grows loud and strong in us, with the eyes of a man who feels things writing, rebuilding within him, and who fastens onto two and becomes set on the start of a new reality.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I thought it was a nice way to set it up.
You know, it just to me now, after all of our readings of Artaud, I just keep seeing all of this Addis Heliogabalus cult stuff and everything now.
Right,
Right?
right.
You know, he's trying to create his own ionic life, right? Powerful stuff. Interesting.
Totally, totally.
Gotta love Antonin Artaud. But
Okay,
it's powerful, this idea that you can create a new reality, you know?
definitely, definitely.
Beautiful way to begin. So what do you take
Yeah.
from this? What do you want people to get from this as to open up the book?
Basically, I guess to emphasize that no matter how far we've slid down or how much we're suffering, there is a possibility for a new life for
And
yourself.
rebuilding. Wow.
The start of a
Powerful.
new reality. So it's something yeah, yeah.
Love it.
So let's
Okay.
jump in here. Fear and the thing itself. I'm terrified of needles. From 2013 to 2017, I had fallen into the pit of heroin addiction. Now every needle that pierces me is a stark reminder of that whole ordeal. Desperation, squalor, sickness, searching for a good vein so I could block it all out. The visual distortions, the dissociation, the voices demanding that I end my life. Today marked the first of countless blood tests for my new medication, Clozapine. Medication number 20. I pray that it helps. Sitting in the waiting room, I twisted and churned with anxiety. I was mesmerized by the floor ebbing and flowing like the ocean in a rhythmic tidal pattern. I couldn't stop shaking my legs. What else is new? And each minute, my dread of the ever advancing needle compounded exponentially. At last, my name was called. I walked to the little cubicle and sat down. The phlebotomist signed my clozapine receipt. Blood work has been completed according to Health Canada requirements for clozapine dispensing. She tied the tourniquet around my bicep, and a vein came up immediately, as though my body itself was begging for her to take my blood. I shut my eyes. A quick sting, and it was over. A single tiny vial is all that was needed. I thanked her, gathered my things, and called an Uber home. I can't help but laugh. Weeks of building this up in my mind to absurd proportions, and it was over in less than a minute. Funny how the fear of something can be more painful than the thing itself.
What a human experience, my friend. Anxiety run amok, right? Wild
Yeah,
stuff.
it's like my visual disturbances, my visual hallucinations. The floor is moving, the walls like breathe, like if you're on acid.
Right.
I've been using substances since I was 12. I'm currently clean, but it was a long lifetime struggle because I my schizoaffective manifested when I was 8 years old, but it was not flagged as that because it's such a rare disorder and it's not commonly seen in young children. It usually develops later in adolescence or early adulthood. Um, so yeah,
Wow.
the fear versus fear and the thing itself. It's like we build these things up in our minds to like these what might seem insurmountable task, and then you finally finish it and you go, why was I stressed about that?
Right. Exactly. It's such a human experience because this is often what we do, you know. I just always related to the tarot. I think of it's the seven of swords, right? Futility, but futility energy is also deceit at the same time.
Hmm,
You know, it's always a false projection, you know, and that's a hard thing to recognize and to realize. So much of our reality is created in the mind. For you, that becomes so apparent, right?
exactly. Let's keep
Wow.
going. To tame the brutal sea of dreams. I've been taking clozapine for 2 days now, 12.5 milligrams before bed. After 3 days, there's a dose increase to 12.5 milligrams twice daily. After 4 more days, 25 before bed, etc. And so the gradual dosage crescendo wails like a siren long into the night. At this low of a dose, I have not yet noticed any different diminishing of symptoms, with the exception of one. Typically, when I sleep, it is a harrowing affair, with people and locations exuding an aura of the unheimlich, an anxious, brutal sea on which my tiny boat is ever dashed, ever reconstructed, an Ephesian Sisyphean task that never ends. At times I am hurled from the deck into the open sea, waves threatening to engulf me, sea creatures curiously grasping and nibbling at my limbs, the ever-hungry abyss patiently awaiting my descent. In the wake of Clozapine, however, this brutal sea of dreams has for the time being settled, uneasily perhaps, not a sea at all anymore, but a faintly rippling mirror, reflecting and thus merging with the sky, a great womb of comfort all around, allowing me to at last rest my head and close my eyes, gently drifting amidst chthonic murmurs.
Wow. A very hopeful ending, you know? Finding
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of
that
dark
abyss,
stuff in here, but there's also like that need to persist and
right.
thrive.
Also, you know, that kind of that darkness, that solitude, that abyss energy can also be that womb, that absolute comfort, right? And it's important to engage that side of these things. That's very powerful.
Definitely. And so, yeah, the brutal sea of dreams is just like I always have the weirdest dreams, and I never remember them when I wake up, but they're usually quite disturbing. One I remember, a little side, an aside. I had this dream that everyone in my high school was around me, stabbing me with knives, and they kept screaming, "Caesar, Caesar!"
Oh
until
gosh.
until I woke up. It was the Ides of March, so oh,
Oh
classical
wow.
dream. Must have subconsciously been thinking about it. Oh,
Interesting. It's always wild how the
anyways.
mind can do that, you know?
Oh, I know.
Interesting.
Just wild.
But yeah, this was
Anyways,
this is a good one. Interesting.
I like that one. February 4th. Parasite and shame. I am alive in you, draped in an alluring disguise, using strands of your DNA to pass as mine, feeding on your marrow, greed entwined with sorrow. Will you feel bad for me? I play a symphony of pity to distract you from my flaws. Insidious creature that you cannot seem to live without, so you do all you can to help while I bury myself in shame. This is
Wow.
about not wanting to accept help because I feel like I'm taking advantage of people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, when you're unwell, especially with something like a mental illness, it's so hard for people to believe you. It's so hard for you to explain it. It's and then you know you can't work a normal job. You can't live a normal life, and
No,
that puts so much pressure and so much demand upon those closest to you, right? And
well said.
over the years, it just it gets heavier and heavier and heavier, and that's like, what do
Yeah,
you do? Ugh, man, I feel you. I feel you. Right?
it's
It's a very
brutal.
real thing. Yeah.
It is. It is. Let's keep
This is
going.
it. Yeah. Interesting.
The blight. I need to get clean. It's eating my money and my perception of myself. For 24 years, I've used drugs to cope with the constant thoughts of death. It's a maladaptive coping mechanism, and I'm burning out. The world bends and shifts around me, patterns slithering into each other in a never ending stream. Now I'm on 75 milligrams of clozapine, and I'm still suicidal and psychotic. This patient must be patient and vigilant. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry, Dad. I am nothing but a rotten sponge, and my pores are clogged with mold and pitiful debt. I can't go on like this, living in this dream. One day I will awaken, and finally I will be free. I have the key, but I'm afraid to open the gate.
Wow.
So, kind of self-evident, this one, still fighting my psychosis, grappling with getting help from family. Um, I have the key, but I'm afraid to open the gate is very much how I feel about a lot of stuff in life. You don't want to take that next step because you don't know what it's going to be. But if you never take a step, then you'll never get anywhere, right? You stagnate and get destroyed.
It's one of these interesting things. Okay, I was thinking about Schopenhauer has this interesting passage where he talks about this, where he says, for the young man, the greatest threat is to not take the risk, but then after a while, then it's the risk itself becomes the issue, right? So it's like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. And you have to take risks in your life. You have to put yourself out there, but you have to know when to hold back, and it's finding
Yes,
that balance and
calculated.
self-control that is so hard for everyone, you know um
Yeah,
yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, this is
for
interesting
sure.
stuff, right? And that fear of opening the gate is just such a very human thing, where we see the issue. This to me is a very Hamlet type thing. Hamlet is the quintessential person who's like, even the dead come up and tell him what he needs to do. He needs to deal with his uncle. He needs to take justice into his own hands, but he's so privileged and so afraid of action. He just would rather wallow and cry out about what he has to do than do anything. But like, that's
It's,
such a
it's,
human
uh,
response.
there's
Such a human
a there's a
response,
there's a fun webcomic where they're like, "Who wants change?" And everyone raises their hands. Who wants to change? And everyone puts their hand down.
right? Or I always think too of Prince Arjuna in the Mahabharata, right? Which is one of the most famous Hindu texts where the Bhagavad Gita comes from. And what that's all about is Prince Arjuna has to go to war against his loved ones, his family, his friends, right? And he doesn't want, of course, he doesn't want to. And right at the last moment before he's going to go to battle, he tries to chicken out and run off and become a monk, you know and then God shows up and rebukes him. Right.
Brutal.
But it's, well, I should say, inspires him to take responsibility. That's a
Right,
hard thing,
right.
taking
It
responsibility and
is.
opening that gate, right?
It really is. Accountability is difficult.
Ugh, action is difficult, you know
Yes, yes. Well, you read this one. This is in Things in My Chest, Volume 2. Um, Spit Beach. Here on the shores of Spit Beach, I am at war with the tide. It swells and fills my throat as I try to sleep, directed by the moon to smother me, coughing and choking on saliva till I cannot breathe. The towel laid out over my pillow is damp and dripping. I keep waking up to a full mouth, which I drain into an empty Coke can at the side of my bed, drooling when I speak or try to eat. It collects in a pool that drowns my tongue and lower teeth. Scattered across Spit Beach is detritus once hidden by the sea. One day I will die as yet another victim of the salivating tide.
Wow, I
So
love this one. Yeah, talk to us about your side effects here so that the
yeah,
audience gets a
yeah.
full
So
picture.
here's a fun side effect of clozapine is hypersalivation to the point that like I couldn't lay down or it would collect and I would start aspirating like my saliva would go into my lungs. And so it was like nearly asphyxiating whenever I tried to sleep.
You could
And
drown in your own sleep on your spit. Like that's
yeah,
insane.
so I'm taking another medication that mitigates that a little bit. I still drool when I sleep, but I can sleep through the night. So I'll take that as a win.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Like the things that you don't consider when from an outside perspective about all this medication and all the wild stuff that you got to go through,
Oh, I
right?
know. Midnight Mania Machine. I can't control myself, wasting all my money again, sinking into addiction, drugs and books thrown at the void. The world is glowing, beauty set ablaze, fiery clouds drifting through the azure sky. I can't stop pacing, legs still shaking, chest is aching, thoughts are racing. This machine was never built for sleep. Dreams elude me, mouth still drooling. They should never have lowered my aripiprazole injection. Ruining my life one bridge at a time. They've all been burned. They've all spurned me with good reason. Anger bubbles under my skin, exposed nerve in my molar stinging the entire left side of my face. I can't take care of myself. I should be hospitalized. At least then I can listen to that painting again. It told me that everything will be okay. I want to believe. I need to believe. I can't miss my performance on March 28th. After that, I'll let myself collapse, because even black holes need rest. Though I will certainly not rest in the ward. Running on an empty tank, insomnia urging me along the plank, no one left to thank, they all abandoned ship. No one left to keep close. This machine was never built for human interaction. Mind is splintered into factions, fractions of myself, waging wars in me, planting manic spores in me, closing every door in me. Please increase my clozapine.
Wow. Again, we're seeing that painting. This is an ongoing theme for you ever since you saw it. So remind our
It is.
audience about this painting from the psych ward.
I have a picture of it on my phone right here. So, kind of hard to see. But there we go. It's just an abstract painting that was on the wall in the psych ward when I was there in November. And it was sending messages to me telling me that I was going to be okay and like I was safe. And when I went back to the ward for all of May and June, the painting was gone. There's just an empty space. You could tell like the discoloration of like how long it had been there, you know?
Right. Oh
And
gosh,
I was
that's
really sad. I was really
just the
sad. So I'm glad.
shadow. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have the picture and I look at it whenever I'm feeling like too bummed out.
Right.
I
But
wish I
that's
could have bought
powerful
it from
stuff
them.
though. Interesting that,
Yeah.
something like a painting can still hold this, comfort for you, you know, in these
Yeah.
times of where you're suffering and you're thinking, maybe I can go back to that moment where I felt secure, right?
Totally. Totally.
Because we know you don't really want to go back to the psych ward. That's not what it's about.
No, no, it's definitely not. I've been there out of necessity for my safety,
Of course, of
but
course. We
it's a
we
very
honor those places and what they do,
the
but
the
it's
ward is
certainly not a good
chaotic.
place.
The ward
Yeah,
is super chaotic. Lots of people needing help, not enough staff to help everyone.
right. Yeah,
Getting
way
in
too
fights
stressful.
sometimes with other inmates.
Yeah, way too stressful. Everyone's
Yeah.
erratic. You don't know what, you'd feel just, yeah, not a
Yeah,
good
it's
place,
not good. Yeah.
you know? Yeah, anyway, let's continue here.
Purgatory, limbo. Well, speaking of the ward, I wrote this while on the ward. Purgatory limbo. Time here does not exist, floating through the days. Something is severely wrong inside my brain. Shockproof windows to prevent us from leaping into concrete graves. Agony shudders through me in technicolor waves.
Wow. I remember
Yeah,
I talked to you about this, and you basically were telling me at one point that time both slows down and speeds up at the same time in the ward, where you feel like you're caught in an endless loop, but at the same time, a month
it's
goes
just limbo.
by like that.
Yeah, definitely. Each
It's a
day
weird
felt like an
thing.
agonizing journey, but then in the grand scheme of things, once a month was over, it was like, oh. Okay. I was there for 4.5 weeks this time.
Wild, wild, wild,
Yeah,
wild.
not a good time. Not a good time. Regret and the power it holds. A cocktail of corrosive chemicals lined up on my table. Syringe in hand, this shaky hand, tourniquet in place, searching for a vein. The urge to pierce the skin is at war with the cowardly crawl to the hospital. Now I'm trapped. I missed my chance. The urge to end it all overshadowed by the guilt of leaving everyone behind. The fear of failing yet another attempt, locked in hand with the fear of paralysis or worse. I crave the non-existence of a coma. Take me back to that serene nothingness. Take me back to the river and plunge me into the January ice. Pick out a better tree for hanging me. The one I chose was just too weak. I regret living. I regret returning to the ward. I regret not having the will to end my life. I will forever be a coward, a weakling, a waste of space, a burden. My family worries me, and my family worries, and it riddles me with guilt. They feed me and take care of me, and it riddles me with guilt. Your weapon is guilt.
Wow, that's so
So
heavy.
last time I was in the ward, it was because I was going to inject myself with cleaning chemicals,
Oh my
um,
gosh.
which would have been my sixth attempt. I've attempted suicide 5 times, and yeah, that was the most recent scary moment for me. I guess was getting all the chemicals out and the syringe, and yeah,
Jeez. That's such a scary, scary thing, right? But again, it's like you don't want to act. It's not that you want to die. It's that you want to be, like you say here, in that nothingness. But you just have no way to go from here to nothing. You know, if you could skip the the injecting part and the wow. Anyway, wild.
yeah. Your weapon is guilt is a line from Sludge Factory by Alice in Chains.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Another person who's dealing with severe mental illness, you know, and struggling.
hmm, definitely, definitely.
Heavy stuff.
Deciduous, 4 North. 4 North is the name of the psych, the ward of the hospital. Increase of clozapine, it thrives in my blood. I pray for some relief, I'm turning into wood. Arborous limbs bear no fruit, slowly withering at the roots. Leaves have fallen, devoid of pollen, all the insects burrow in my bark to starve and slowly die. I am not an ecosystem like I once believed. I am a living nightmare haunting people's dreams.
Wow. I am not an ecosystem. I am a haunting. I'm a nightmare. Wow. Again, you have this constant theme of being feeling like you're a parasite, right?
Oh
That seems
yeah,
to be a real
I
negative
I I,
image.
I grew up thinking I was a burden. I was often told I was a burden,
Mm,
so I internalized that for most of my life.
right. Oof, that's such a heavy stuff. I do love this
Yeah.
idea, though. You are an ecosystem, though, Graham.
Oh, I know. I wrote this in a very dark place. We're like trillions of single cell organisms operating together. It's really quite beautiful. But
Absolutely.
yeah, I was pretty dark and bitter at that point when I wrote that. That was near the yeah, yeah.
Heavy stuff. Heavy stuff. No, we're here to feel it and to experience it with you, you know?
All the
Powerful.
insects burrow in my bark to starve and die. I really like that line.
That's
Starve and
such a
slowly
wild
die.
image, right? Oof.
Anyways, let's
You
keep
know,
going.
that is one thing about the tree, right? To be an ecosystem is to also be burrowed full of holes and to be consumed by all of these other life forms,
Yeah, totally,
right? Wow.
totally. Therapeutic dose. At the threshold, I momentarily pause, riddled with uncertainty. Will this be the dose that at last mitigates my symptoms, or will I be let down again? Will this 20th medication lead me back to failure? I can't bear the thought, yet it is implanted in my brain, spinning me in circles. I pray for the centrifuge to separate me from the horrible illness.
Wow. Spinning in circles in the centrifuge, like a chemical precipitating out.
Yeah,
Wild
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah,
Love
not
it.
too much to say about this one, I guess. I was
Wild
just
uncertainty.
this is in July. All of July and August I was couch surfing.
Right.
Um,
So that leads to even more anxiety. You're unsure about the medications, you're unsure about your home. Wow.
yeah,
Heavy.
yeah. Vampirism. Weekly they drain from me. Weekly my veins they bleed. A single vial, stressed and vile. I have to close my eyes, brace for the sting, the shimmer of everything. 500 milligrams of clozapine, still no relief for me. So
Again,
yeah,
right? Going to the blood
for
bank.
the first for the first 6 months, you have to get it every week. Then for 6 months, it's twice a month, and then it goes down to once a month. Um, yeah,
Still.
yeah, vampirism. Wax and wane. Sweltering and sculpted from wax, I drip to earth with every step. Sweat leaves footprints on searing pavement. I am an experiment, approaching seizure threshold, death cemented and slowly digging a hole into me. No SIBO convincing me that I will never be okay. Am I broken, and will I always feel this way? The sun flays my flesh and chars the bones beneath.
Wax and wane.
I often have hallucinations as well as delusions that like people are made out of wax.
That's so interesting because immediately that just makes me think of the Greek myths, makes me think of Icarus, right? Trying to rise to the heights and then those wax wings from Daedalus melting on him.
For sure, for sure.
Coming crashing down. The heights of hubris, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
but and you've used that imagery before in your poetry. You have a poem that features Icarus,
Yeah, it's called Icarus.
right?
It's in This Human Face.
Beautiful stuff. But yeah, the whole wax thing, right? People being so fragile, vulnerable to being melted, becoming
Yeah, I
nothing but
literally
food.
see people like melt sometimes, like it's like dripping from them, and it's
Oh my
like
gosh,
like thick wax. Very trippy
intense.
stuff.
I can imagine. Oof.
More mania. This time in August. Racing thoughts run over me like the train in a trolley problem. Pacing steps grind me down like the gnawing of teeth. Spent all my money printing shirts that will likely never sell. Abstaining from drugs, climbing out of this hell. Euphoria casting insidious spells. Twitching like bugs pressed under fingernails.
Wow, that mania, right? You're doing your art, struggling to do your art, even in the face of yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
euphoria
I do like
casting
this.
insidious spells. So, are you feeling like extreme optimism at this point, like a potential? Like,
Not optimism, but like euphoria is like a comes along with mania, and it's almost like a shell.
okay,
I guess might be a good way to put it. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it, but it's like the surge of
of hope.
like you feel too good. Like you don't feel good. You feel like invincible kind of thing, you know.
Okay, it almost uncomfortable.
And that like yeah, and like everything is like beautiful, but it's like to a point that it feels like artificial almost.
Interesting. Oh
Hard
wow.
to describe. Hard to describe.
Oh, my birthday.
Nice. Love it. September 16th, home. For the first time in my life, I feel at home. The weight of housing insecurity has finally passed. I still struggle with suicidality. Psychosis still dismantles me, but I am slowly learning to live, not in spite of the horrors, and not against, but with them. They are a part of me, and I must revel in the madness, laugh at the agony, wake up to a new world at last.
Wow. The
So
relief of finding security.
I finally got this new apartment the first week of September after like 2 months of couch surfing. Before that, a month of the ward. Um, yeah, it feels like home. I've never had that before anywhere I've lived.
Oh wow. I'm so happy
Yeah,
for you, man, because we all need that
thank you.
kind of security and that sense of home.
Yeah, one less worry. You know, I'm often on the brink of not being able to pay for my rent and stuff, but at least I have it.
Right.
You know, it's worth it. It's worth it. Gotta
Yeah,
just laugh
exactly.
sometimes.
We
Channeling that
persist.
Galos.
Yep, right? You gotta laugh, right? The horrors persist, but so do I, right?
Exactly.
Embrace Bubo, that energy, make the meter laugh. I am be.
Yeah.
Love it.
For
All right.
sure. A little less today, a little more the next. That's a quote by the band Woods of Ypres. 2 steps forward, 1 step back is still progress. Healing is not linear. Today I felt a profound calm and wonder if it is my meds starting to work or if it is an onset of mania. I feel the blood flowing through my veins as peaceful as a stream. I feel the transmitter sparking in my brain as silence screams. The voices berate me. Suicidal thoughts abase me. This sickness will erase me.
Oh wow.
So, it's just about accepting that there isn't a linear. Again, healing is not linear. We're moving lots of different things moving in tandem. You know, like
Right. You're
yeah, just
recognizing, it seems like you're starting to recognize progress in this moment. And you're trying to relish that. It may not be, the completion of this, but things are getting better. You're coming into flow.
a little bit, yeah.
A
And
little
it's
bit.
sort of like I'm not often like genuinely happy. It's usually just mania, so I'm always like, I think this
Right.
time it's actually just happy or like being content, not happy
Content.
necessarily, but content.
But yeah, contentment, which is a powerful thing.
Definitely. I'm making a weapon in my right arm. That's a Artaud quote. Torn between violent gashes that give forth unspeakable amounts of blood, or this handful of clozapine in my right hand, this desperate clutch on the verge of slipping into the end of everything. So,
Wow.
I almost had another attempt, I guess, on that day, and I was able to call my friend, and he answered, and I was like, I have a handful of pills, I don't know what to do with them. And he encouraged me to go to the hospital, so I did. And stayed there for 12 hours, and then they were like, "Nah, we'll let you go."
It worked out okay, it seems. Jeez.
Yeah, yeah, not really, but they helped me work
Uh,
out like the stress tolerance plan kind
right.
of thing. But overall, I was like, I probably should have. They should have put me on a forum and kept me there for 72 hours, I think. But they were like, I might not really accomplish much.
Ridiculous. Oh my
Go
god.
figure. Go figure.
Right. Here
Anyways,
you are just almost committing suicide, and they're like, "Yeah, we think you're okay. We know you have a history of this, and
right?
no, 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 it's all good."
Happened again, like in like 2012 or 2013. I tried to drown myself, and they like I was in the emergency room and I was getting something called akathisia, which is a side effect of some medications. Where it's like the feeling like your skeleton's gonna jump out of your skin. You can't stay
Mhm.
still or else you'll like implode. And I was so sick of waiting. I was like, can I just go home? And they're like, yeah, okay. And I went home. But like right after like trying to drown myself, I was like, it seems kind of like poor foresight on their
Right.
part.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
the
ridiculous.
medical world is all broken. It's
It is.
ridiculous.
People are trying, but you know.
Yeah, some people are trying, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every step away from feeling this is beauty in his own right. It's a quote from The Haunted. 550 milligrams of clozapine, approaching the recommended dose. My brain is still morose, but I am close to something similar to hope. The veil between the thoughts of death and every breath, the weight on my chest lifted ever so slightly, and I march forward into the fog of war.
Wow. Into the fog of war. The only thing you're certain of is the conflict.
That I got the fog of war line from Warcraft.
Right.
The fog of war is anywhere you can't see on the map, right? And then as you
Yeah,
go,
yeah, I remember. God, it's been so long.
it,
But Warcraft is a classic, right?
yeah, yeah.
Gotta
But
love it.
yeah, I'm starting to feel the edge kind of taken is diminished.
Right.
which has me hopeful. Let's
Yeah, the DOS version, right? You got to go back all the way if you're going to get into Warcraft, Beatnik, back to
yeah,
number 1 or number 2. I still remember first time loading that up on my computer as a kid, and it's like, your sound card works perfectly. Just
yeah,
like,
yeah,
and I used to love poking all the guys until they would scream
yeah.
at
You
you.
get all the different all the different
Yeah,
recorded things that they have. I found a witch, my
little
lord. Have you
peons.
found her?
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Okay, yes, my lord. Yeah, yeah.
Anyway.
Too good. What a silly game.
Exactly. All
Dark
right.
ritual. An incision, meticulous, careful, essential, slowly peel away skin, flesh, sinew. Crack, 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 ribs split and wrenched open, like a creaking drawbridge, with all that dark red water flowing underneath. Slide your hands deep into the pulping muck, all the way up to the elbows, and remove that tight fist of pumping muscle. Arms slick with gore, you prepare the necessary sacrifice. This heart has been throbbing with agony for far too long, and it is time to be still. Blade inserted roughly, straight into the center. 1,000 cries inside your mind, recoiling in horror, but all returns to tranquility. Tranquil equilibrium when the beating ends.
Wow, that's intense.
This was an older piece that I reworked. It was called Subtime Subs. What was it? I don't remember the name of it. Sometimes you have to substitute feelings for vitality. For vitality, that was it.
Okay.
So it's really like
And now
offering
it's a dark. Go ahead, sorry.
the dark ritual or dark pact. It's like offering my heart to the greater good, I guess, or greater being. Kind of like my own heart, like the Aztecs, taking the heart out and yeah, yeah.
I keep thinking of knowing you. It just made me think of Berserk.
Berserk, yeah, yeah,
Right,
yeah,
right. Sacrificing yourself for your desire. I mean, he does it in an evil way for his greed and desire, and
yeah,
sacrifices all
yeah,
his friends, but you're going through your own dark ritual.
exactly.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
Wild.
Keep going. The circle. Lucid dreams and vacant skies, empty space and retching screams, clawing at the walls, clawing at eyes, no way out, no way to die. No matter how many times I hurt my neck, I try to hang myself. Pills puked back up, veins and skin regenerate, an eternity of death and rebirth, shackled in misery. Lucid dreams and vacant skies, it lives into itself.
Oh
But
gosh.
yeah, yeah, the circle. Kind of just like all the times I've attempted suicide and then I bounce back from it. It's sort of like used to be why? Why am I alive? Now it's why not?
That's a big shift, right? That's a massive shift. Wow.
Definitely. It's difficult, but I try to maintain that headspace.
Beautiful.
Scarecrows. I'll explain this after. Do you wake up in the morning hating yourself? Do you wish you could just run away? Do you wonder why you bother with life? Do you drown your feelings with a bottle or seven? Out of the scarecrows in your closet. Did someone hurt you? Do they still hurt you? Is there someone following you? Do you feel someone watching you sleep? Did you hear a creak in the stair? Are there scarecrows at the window? Do you feel the walls closing in? Do you wish your life would end? Do you hear someone whispering in your ear? Do you feel a cold breath on your neck? Are there scarecrows in the room? Can you feel them touch you? Can you hear their footsteps when you walk down the street? Can you feel them watching you? Can you hear them whispering? And can you hear them coming up the stairs? Are the scarecrows in your mind? Is it just a dream?
Oh,
This is
interesting.
another older piece. I used to, so part of my psychosis and delusion and stuff is that uh, I was created by these like other interdimensional beings and that
Hmm.
they control because they made me they can control all of my experiences and my thoughts and my emotions and they would present themselves in different manifestations and for about a year they would show up as scarecrows. I'd see scarecrows everywhere and they were talking to me and telling me that yeah they own me, like I had someone come up to me once and they said you only exist because I imagine you. And that was the st-
Wow.
and that
Yeah, I
was the
remember
start
you
of
said
that.
that.
Yeah, that was the start of the intense paranoia. So yeah, Scarecrow's paranoia, psychosis, scary shit.
Crazy.
Damnation. I am not from this place. I come from deep within the recesses of my vessel subconscious. I wish to control. I wish to be alive. I wish to take my rightful place, to drive this breathing insanity away. But it has locked me up and sealed me deep, deep in the blackest pits of Tartarus.
Wow.
So sort of like watching my illness become more human than I am. I'm
And
trapped
you get,
inside myself.
yeah.
Trapped inside myself, watching it carry out all these self-destructive behaviors.
It's almost like you're being John Malkovich moment where
Yeah,
all these other people take over your body and you're left on autopilot.
Malkovich, 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 Malkovich. Yeah.
What a wild movie. I know
Or
you would
like
love
the
that
true,
one because you love that guy, Kaufman or
yeah,
whatever.
Charlie Kaufman.
Mhm.
I also think of the Truman Show. When that movie came out, it was like them telling me that I know about them.
Right. I remember
And it was sort of
reading
like,
in, around that time, I was in university or a little after, and there was a paper that was done about, like, 5 years after that movie or so where it became a psychosis. Now it's a document there's the Truman Show psychosis. It's like there
oh
weren't
wow.
really people talking like that before, but then it triggered all of these people after, you know?
Hmm,
I mean, there were a
interesting.
few isolated cases, but then it became like a fairly common occurrence to think you're in a reality show. Yeah.
Wild. I mean, I get that kind of like right now, since last Thursday, I've been having an ongoing voices commenting everything that I'm doing. So they're like, oh, now he's in a podcast talking to his friend about his poetry in his Clozapine journal. And now he's thinking about it. And now he's losing his train of thoughts. And now, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
It's so easy to get disconnected from yourself in that, this really, yeah,
It's
it's not, some people would call it delusional, but I really relate to that because, like, for me, for the longest time, I was having, for most of my life, and I still have it. I have these kind of dreams where then they would occur in the future. So I'd have a dream and then it would
wow,
happen, but it would almost always be just mundane stuff. So you would never really think about it, or it would be in the back of your head, and then all of a sudden would happen. Or a couple times I'd get caught
wild.
in these loops where, like, for example, there's the one that stands out to me where I dreamt that I was washing the dishes. But then while washing the dishes, I realized that I was dreaming. And then it was like this constant feedback loop of waking up and realizing that I'm stuck in this
Oh,
infinite loop
wild.
of washing the dishes. And that just, like, freaked me the hell out and made me, for a while as a young person, think that, like, I wasn't myself, you know? But now I've since
Definitely.
reconciled all this kind of stuff within my own experience. But, you know,
Good, good.
these are a
It was
normal
like,
occurrence. People kind of have these things. It's something that
totally,
yeah.
totally. This is just like, it's like, like sports commentators.
Hmm.
Imagine that narrating everything you do 24/7 while you're awake.
That's wild.
That's what I've been dealing with the past
You feel like
few
you're
months.
like, yeah, you have a narrator. It makes me think of, what was that movie, Stranger Than Fiction, where the guy
Yeah,
was
very
caught.
much exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Oh, too wild, too wild.
Wild stuff,
Let's keep
eh?
going. Prison. When the icy prism rises and sends doleful, resigned rays that barely illuminate any part of this place, wherever we are, I become this inflamed obsession, this ecstasy, to see everything, to absorb everything, to understand everything. I must escape this prison constructed from beams, terrifying light.
Oh, interesting.
I don't remember what I was thinking when I wrote this. Um,
Well, the prism is such a profound image, right? The taking of that purity of the light and the separating of
refracting
it
it.
into the rays, right? The one
Yeah,
that comes
yeah.
from heaven, you know? Um,
I remember now. So in 2008, or 2009. I can't remember. It all blurs into itself. When I was in university, for theater, well, that was one of my degrees. I had a lot of them. But the most important to me was theater. And I was the lighting crew head for a play one year, and the director decided there would be no set pieces, and they would have the lighting create a floor plan on the stage of like houses and stuff. So as the characters walking this way, corridors of light will like appear in front of them and then recede behind them, and then they
Oh,
walk back.
interesting.
There were so many like so much lighting equipment I had to set up, and it was like a nightmare. But it was also really cool once we finally got it working. It just reminded me of like I must escape this prism constructed from beams of terrifying light. It's like they're dictating where I can and cannot go.
Right. Oh, interesting. And you got to escape the prison. You got to get out of the light. Also, there's this whole thing about the prison. Are you familiar with, are you channeling Foucault here? Because this immediately makes me think of that idea of the panopticon, which was a prison within a prison, and
Exactly.
the
Yeah.
light that hits us, right, is to be observed. And as long as we are observed, then we are unable to be truly free. We're not without the oppression of the
Yeah.
other, you know. Uh,
Totally. Totally.
so, were you
I
channeling
know.
any of
I
that,
know.
or subconsciously maybe?
Maybe it was subconsciously. I am familiar with Foucault. It's just everything's a prison.
Yeah, right. To be observed
It's
is
the
to
joke.
be
The joke.
imprisoned, right? Yeah, that's the joke. But to be
Totally.
observed is to be imprisoned, and we can. That is a very human, relatable understanding. You know, right? We want our privacy. We want that place where we can feel like we can be ourselves. But if we're always
Totally.
observed, then it colors every single aspect of our being. And to have the light upon you is to be in that observable space. It's to be
You're
defined.
exposed.
Wow. And it's to create form. To have form is and to have image is to be defined in time and space, at least for a moment. Right?
Totally.
Interesting.
Totally. Everything here is black and blinding. I couldn't care less what you think of me. In fact, I hope I've all but darkened your opinions, ripped my face from every picture, and cut me out of your mind. I do not belong on this earth, and the silence made all this agony worth something.
Oof.
Pretty straightforward, this one, I guess. It's like, again,
I do
about
like
being
this idea
perceived.
that the silence, is worth, is so beautiful that it makes the pain worth it.
Yeah, I was in a
Contrast.
coma for 13 hours after my second suicide attempt, and I've been on a lot of anesthesia for various procedures, and they both bring you into like this beautiful silence, tranquility that's so calm you can't even really fully acknowledge it, but it's there. And it's like hard to describe. I can close my eyes and I wake up and it's like the next day. There's like a glitch in the matrix.
Like you
Um,
went to sleep. It's
yeah, exactly. Like, because when I did ECT, it was 14 sessions, so 14 times I was under anesthesia within like a month and a half period. And yeah, I was excited to look forward to that.
wow.
Now he has turned to stone. Chronology confused, reliving trauma in everything I do. When I close my eyes, I feel the blade against my neck. I feel the January ice gnawing at my ankles. The burn of too much whiskey, hands groping my flesh, the needle piercing veins. I have fought the horrors for 28 years. Still I persist. Still they insist that my time is running out, choking on pills at the back of my mouth. So this is about how with trauma, when you're having flashbacks or recurring thoughts about the traumatic experience, it brings you into the present, or rather transports you from the present into that past place. It's like a weird merging of your trauma and your everyday experience, I guess. Um, that's why its chronology is confused because it's like you're not living in the present.
No, you're living in the you're going back to that moment of extreme trauma, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Liminal. I float in the space between my world and yours. Forever in debt, I can't afford to live. This is fucking embarrassing. I don't amount to anything. I keep taking Clozapine, it's barely working. I'm grasping at something that will help me climb out of this hole inside me. I keep losing my grip and sliding back down, lost somewhere between life and death.
Right? Feeling like you're in that limbo again. Another constant theme throughout these journals. Wow.
Definitely, definitely.
Heavy stuff again.
Not too much to say about this one. Relief, release. I'm trapped inside myself, trapped in this husk. I'm living inside myself, trapped in this husk that masquerades as me. When I dig the knife into my wrist, I see deep within the man who I wish to become. Will I be able to rescue myself, or will I perish? A harrowing journey into my veins to reclaim this pathetic life.
Oh, that's wild. I like the
Yeah,
imagery you created, with that text coming out of the opening of your vein.
yeah, yeah. Pretty intense. Sort of
Very
like
intense. Don't you have a
you were
painting about
going
this?
back. Hmm?
Don't you have a painting of this where there's a guy coming out of the wrist
It's
or
the end
something?
of the drawing at the end of this talk.
Okay. Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. But yes, I drew it at the same time that I wrote the poem, and just
And
like
did you
it's a
intentionally
recurring
make it look like a bomb, or am I just reading into that? The shape.
a bomb.
It
Oh
looks like a bomb,
wow, yeah, I look at you, B-52 or whatever. I did not plan that.
or an
That's
urn.
that's funny. Yeah, we're an urn. I hadn't thought about that before. That's funny.
Interesting.
Or a fish. Uh, because again, this theme that like I am trapped inside myself, and I have to break free and liberate myself from my illness.
Wild.
Solitude. Isolation can devour, but also empower. I channel the hermit and try to learn how to live with myself. Weeks without seeing anyone. The belief that I'm no fun. I created the deafening blow of a gun to penetrate my skull. This is no life at all.
To penetrate my skull. Oof.
Trying to live with myself, be okay with the every moment, and
I do love this idea of channeling the hermit, right? The power of the Virgo. Got some tarot imagery here,
exactly,
right?
exactly,
And that's that energy. The hermit is isolating oneself and going internal, facing oneself in the mirror of the soul, and refining oneself with honesty, right? Really
exactly.
powerful, necessary energy, but it can be also so negative and
Brutal.
hateful.
Can be brutal.
You
But
know,
it's like I'm alone, but I'm not lonely.
right, right. You know, you just got to be careful with that hermit energy. Don't destroy yourself
Oh,
for the sake
definitely.
of something that can't be reached. Don't the
Exactly.
pursuit of virtue can lead into the absurd. You know,
For sure, for sure.
it's I mean, all of
My
life is absurd, but you know what I mean.
I know what you mean, yeah. My
Like
meds
I
aren't
I, I
working.
understand this wanting to live a good life, but then there's like and trying to be a good virtuous person, but then there's people who
Paranoia.
destroy themselves, you know, in this
Definitely.
pursuit of trying to abandon reality. It becomes not about virtue, it becomes fear driven, or becomes this pursuit or to prove somehow that you're stronger than the body. Anyway, that mystical
Yeah.
path is a weird one, you know?
It is. Oh. This
Right,
one's
let's
called My
see.
Meds Aren't Working. 10 pills daily, 1 injection monthly. Trying to feel something, anything, other than the screaming automatons that live in my brain. Fighting but eroding. Will I be carved into someone beautiful? Or will this face crumble more horrid than ever?
Wow. Will I be carved into someone beautiful or will I crumble more horrid than ever? This is a Wheel of Fortune moment if I ever saw one.
Yeah.
Right? Where the pressure well, it's true, right? Because that the Wheel of Fortune energy is that energy that pressurizes us and turns us into diamonds, we hope, right? Sometimes it
Yeah.
pressurizes you and you fail, you know? You don't rise to the occasion. You get squashed under the weight. And
Wow.
that's
I
that's
love
a
that.
that's a reality, you know? And this is just true of life, you know? Life sometimes we were talking again about that need to take the risk, right? Sometimes the not taking of the risk, the not challenging yourself, the not going through suffering is a greater suffering in the long run, you know? But too much risk is also just, a problem.
Yeah, yeah. I was reminded of that Michelangelo quote that I saw the angel within the marble and I sought to set it free or something like that.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah.
And my aunt is a sculptor, so yeah, it was just in my brain, I guess, that day.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful image. Helps clarify. Let's continue here.
Totally. Judges panel. They jabber incessantly, judging my every move, laughing when I fall, mocking my psychosis and suicidal thoughts, booing my triumphs, jeering at my attempts to build a life for myself. Walking on glass shards they've sprinkled before me, slicing and digging into my ravaged feet, weary of making the wrong move, which always leads to more torments of their design. We created you, and we can destroy you, but we won't, because your life is a game to us, and as your audience, we demand performance.
Oof.
So this is about obviously my auditory hallucinations. Um, just nonstop blabbering, driving me absolutely fucking insane. Over the past week or so, week and a half, and
What are they like?
you know,
What are they telling you? Like, can I ask?
yeah. So right now they're telling me to explain what I mean, and now they're laughing at the fact that I'm struggling to get that thought back together. Now they're
And
laughing at me.
is
Yeah,
this like a clear personage that is speaking to you, or is it
yeah,
just like
yeah.
a
It's
vague entity?
two specific voices.
Wow.
They're just talking back and forth about me. Um, so now they're saying, "Oh, he knows that we know that he knows that we know," you know, and
Wow.
yeah, it's about them manufacturing this like false reality for me.
Making you perform and dance for them.
Exactly, exactly.
Ooh, heavy.
We're the
That's
spectacle. We are the spectacle, right?
right. Well, all the world's a stage, and we are but players, are we not?
Exactly,
This
exactly.
is a constant thing. Like, yeah, yeah. When you're reading this, it's like, and you're experiencing all this extreme anxiety from this, but also at the same time, I'm like, yes, though. Yes, though,
For sure,
right?
for
Life is
sure.
kind of this, wild performance. And yeah, there are voices in our heads. It's unsettling, but it's yeah,
It's
I don't know
there.
what to say. Right? It's an aspect of the real.
Definitely, definitely. Seizure. I think this might be the last one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah. Seize the day, seize my brain, approaching 600 milligrams of clozapine. Will it banish these thoughts of death? Will it vanquish the voices? Will it crack the psychotic lens that obscures my perception? Finding the strength to wear the armor, bracing myself for a new reality. So
wow.
anything above 600 milligrams of clozapine is a seizure risk. You can go up to 900 milligrams, but that's very atypical to happen because it's so dangerous above that dose. So it's just like gotta ride it out a little bit longer, see if it helps. If not, we'll have to taper off, then taper on to something new.
Are you gonna push it past the 600 level, do you think? No, it's not worth the
It's not
risk.
safe. My psychiatrist said he won't do it.
Okay.
Um,
Because I know you have been experiencing some positive side effects. So
yeah, I mean, my suicidal ideation and my intrusive thoughts, they feel a bit more distant, but been replaced by actual voices. So,
Right. So it's like a trade, not much of a
right.
trade off.
I just started this new dose though, so I'll notice in a couple of weeks whether or not it makes a difference.
Right. Wow. Heavy stuff. Heavy stuff. Like, what do you
The,
do now? You go
the
back.
psychotic.
Like, what do you do after this? What if this doesn't work? What are they going to even try? What can
There
they do?
are a, there are a few other medications I could try,
Okay.
with less of a robust side effect profile. Um, yeah, there's always a few meds, but a lot of them are more new, and it's hard to say how effective they are for my condition. But
Right.
worth trying. Worth trying. Throw everything at the
We're
wall and see
trying.
what sticks.
Keep going. Right. We endure and we persevere.
Yeah. This is the drawing at the back in the back of the book, the revealed one, which is another Artaud quote.
And
And
that
it's
poem,
about
right?
it's about retrieving me from inside myself.
It also just makes me think of that poem we read. This
This
one.
that one. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I they were both done in like the same few minutes. I did the drawing first and then I wrote the poem.
Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. Well, Graham, this was an amazing journey through your experience with Clozapine. Getting to experience this new poetry collection of yours. So, how do you want to summarize this collection, and what do you want people to get out of and to look forward to if they decide to purchase
Yeah.
your book?
So I think you know, schizoaffective only affects 0.3 to 0.5% of the population. So it's not something most people would encounter or really know about. So I'm hoping to raise awareness as offer a glimpse into a life of someone who struggles with this, and learn to have empathy for that which we do not understand.
Right. And so, did we see most of the book here? Did you share us with most of the book, or do you have quite a
Only a
few more
third of it.
journals?
There's
Only a
there's
third
like
of it. Yeah.
50 something poems in it.
50
So I think
poems.
we did maybe half of it.
Love it. Love it. Okay. That's awesome. And when was this is this available yet up on your website, or when does this come
It
out?
is, and I just now got a notification that I'll have the copies will be here on Monday.
Amazing. So if people want to pre-order it, they can order it from your website,
Yeah, it's up.
thingsinmychest.com. If you look in the description, you'll find
Link tree.
a link tree that'll have the link here, and this is the cover in the back, or sorry, page 2 in the back,
That's an
the revealed
inside.
one.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, in the
yeah.
back is the revealed one. Wow, that was quite the journey, quite the journey, right?
Thanks for coming along for the ride.
An amazing piece of work. And do you think we may get a part 2 since your Clozapine journal, your
It's
journey,
not
sorry, isn't over?
not maybe I left it off at this spot because it felt a bit natural. Whether or not I can, if I continue with it, I might do a second journal. Maybe we'll see.
Wild, wild stuff. Wow, this was incredible. Thank you for sharing with us, Graham. Any final words you want to leave people with for this particular work?
The
I know you
eternal
love this
question.
question.
It's a great. It's a great one. It's a great one. I guess hold time and space for yourself. It's easy to wear ourselves thin between work and other obligations, and then we neglect our own needs and our own desires. So,
Right.
you know, combination of the hermit and would be the one for like socializing. I don't know.
You want to be the hermit, but you also want, the best card just about for all of this is adjustment, justice, Libra energy, you know,
Okay.
because the hermit is that hard working in the earth that brings us into refinement, but eventually we want to get to that justice energy where we are balanced with the self and in harmony with the universe and the heights of the
Right.
ideal, right?
Right.
That's what
Knew
we
you'd
would,
have a good answer.
right? That's that's the creme of the creme right there. Libra energy. Or the high priestess. But anyway, we don't want to go off a random nonsense tarot thing. Uh, but Grant, so this was an amazing work. Thank you so much for sharing with us. And it'll be available come Monday. People can pre-order. But what else have you been up to? I did see that you had recorded some new music. Why don't you talk about your new
Yeah,
music?
I mean, it's just a bit of synth noodling, I guess.
Hey, but it's always fun.
Yeah, yeah, it's like, I put set spit beach to one of the songs and then, a couple instrumental tracks. It's like 5 minutes long. It's like, again, just some doodling. I hadn't felt inspired to do music for a while, so
If you go into the link tree, you'll see it at Graham's Bandcamp. He has all of his music
yeah,
up.
I haven't updated the link tree, but grahamquinn.bandcamp.com.
Okay. Graham
Um,
Cwinn. I can write that in the chat here.
sure.
Um, Also, is there anything else that you're working on?
Uh, I mean, I put out Things in My Chest Volume 2 recently.
Right. We did a
Yeah,
deep dive onto that, and that was your
yeah,
how many artists again did you get?
12.
12? 12 artists
Well,
all
11 plus me.
yeah. 12 artists all discussing mental health issues through poetry. And you were that was all done for charity, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Beautiful
Other
stuff.
than that, not too much else on the go right now. Uh,
We do have a couple collaborations in the
we
works that are
do,
really, really fun.
yes.
So on Tuesday, we're getting together to do Searching for Dragons, and we're going to be diving into Mary Shelley and her incredible work, The Last Man. One of the
Yes.
one of the first real post-apocalyptic novel where nature continues and man dies.
It's
Usually in classic these
it's gonna
apocalyptic stories that are prior to Shelley, something comes and blows up the earth or everything ends in this, but this is like man is but a blimp, but in nature persists. We get eaten by a disease. There's a
oh
lot of
wow.
wildness in this one. It's such a
That's gonna be
powerful, um, powerful piece. You guys are gonna love it,
I'm
and just
super
to give
excited for
everyone a
that.
taste, it opens up the introduction, has Mary Shelley and her partner go to the cave of the Sibyl and find writings written on leaves that prophesy the future. And that is what becomes the last man. So in a very and this is they, or but or sorry, it anyway, it's a wild, wild story. We're gonna have some fun with
I
it.
can't wait.
And then on Saturday, we're gonna be diving back. We're gonna be doing Lucian's Menippus, which will be another really, really fun one, or the Necromantia. And this is a dialogue by the great Greek Syrian philosopher Lucian, and it's a satire about raising from the dead the great creator of Menippean satire, which is a form of literary satire, Menippus, and then having him chastise the audience. And this is kind of like one of the most important pieces of literature in the Western tradition, because it really is kind of this key piece for satire, and ever imitated, ever ripped off. So we're gonna have a lot of fun. It's about traveling to the underworld to bring back this cynic and have him chastise people.
It's gonna be so much fun.
So we're going to do that, and then you're working on um,
I
diving
chose
into Peter Valenti's newest book, On Our Toe. So talk to us about this.
it's the true story of Arto Momo, and it's a series of it's a Arto gave a performance after his asylum stays to like 900 people or something in this small venue, and this is like the text that he read during that performance, as well as some supplementary stuff from his manuscripts around that time. And
Amazing.
I I I'm only about a third of the way in, but it's fucking crazy.
Well, we right, to put it in
It's
perspective,
intense.
this is the point in Arto's life where he's gone through the asylums. He's obliterated his name. He is now this crazed kind of uh, guy walking around
Magician.
with his magic staff, talking in tongues half the time,
Yeah,
babbling coherently,
yeah,
doing
yeah.
all the drugs. True wild
Oh
man.
yeah. Yeah.
But this is an interesting point, though. It's our toad is most magical and is most prolific, and it'll be really
Yeah.
interesting to get a glimpse of this image.
Totally. So
So
that'll be fun.
that'll be fun. So tune in for those. We got 3 new Searching for Dragons episodes in the works. It's going to be lots of fun, and we have lots of more content planned. So this was great, Graham. All right,
Thank you for
everyone. So
having
thank
me
you
as
guys.
always.
Thanks. Thank you for sharing your beautiful art with us. It's always a pleasure. I love having these chats with you, and yeah, it's great. So, Graham, how would you like to end our talk today?
Always comes to me. Eh?
Yep.
I love it. I love it. Um, Again, just don't be afraid to be yourself.
Be yourself. Know thyself is the whole of the path. All right, everyone. Peace and love. Take care. And I hope I see you guys on Tuesday and on Saturday for Searching for Dragons. Until then, much love. Oops, wrong one. This one.